Better late than never. Sorry about that. Whose bad is it? Who knows? Probably Microsoft. Get on it, Bill Gates. I'm Aslan Hajavandi, joined by Michael Langston, recruiting analyst for warchant.com. Welcome into the warchant.com recruiting show with Michael Langston. If you're not a member of warchant.com, use the promo code warchant30. Since you're watching on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and hit the thumbs up, since Mike's going to give away all this free information. I don't even know why. Hit the like button, thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. It's an important thing. It matters. It really does. Michael, how are you, friend?
I'm fantastic, man. Doing great.
All right, man. I'm going to go ahead and open the phone lines. 850-792-5730 is the call-in number. Don't be scared. Go ahead. Give us a call. We'll be also taking questions from our friends here on YouTube as well. Maybe we'll go on the PRB, but we'll save that sort of stuff for the subscribers as well. So before, I guess we wait for our first call. I don't have to wait for first call. There it goes. Oh, just like that. Just like that. And I wonder who it is. I wonder who it could be. Who could it be? Welcome in to the warchant.com recruiting chat with Michael Langston. Who's this?
Hello, Michael. Hello, Aslan. It's Gator Kirk.
There we go.
How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well.
Doing well, Kirk.
Doing well, G. What's up, man?
Just living the dream.
It's all we can ask for, man. It's all we can ask for in these crazy, crazy uncertain times, man. What's on your mind?
All right. I read somewhere where one of the recruits said someone had asked him if it was a committable offer, and he said, "Yeah, it's a committable offer." So, do they have committable offers and non-committable? And if they have non-committable offers, what causes a staff some of the criteria that would make that change to a committable offer?
Well, that's a good question, Kirk. Obviously, there's guys that are higher rated on the board at certain positions. I don't think that's a conversation that's brought up too much, except for kids. If they know that's a school they're likely going to, have a chance to commit to, they're gonna come out and say, "Hey, is that a committable offer that I can commit to?" So I know it's confusing for a lot of fans that, there's a set standard of guys that are higher on your radar that you're ready to take, and there's certain guys that you're not ready to take. Doesn't mean that eventually it won't be a committable offer, but just for instance, guys like you have players like Destin Pizan, and then you have other guys like Malik McLean, who are receiver. Well, we know Destin would for sure be a take for FSU, and then with McLean, it's kind of a wait and see. Maybe they need to see a little bit more before they jump on board. Now with this staff, usually when they offer, most of the time it's a committable one. I think another good example is defensive tackle JUCO defensive tackle Jalen Williams, who we went through consistently. They offered him, but then maybe they felt like they have other guys that they want to get on board before they go in there and go full bore for Williams. So I think there's a standard of who's a priority and who isn't a priority. I make it clear who's the priority as far as when we talk about prospects. So that's the kind I want to give people feel of hey, this guy would definitely have a committable offer. And there's certain guys that have offers that, as we've seen with the Jalen Williams situation, as we've seen with the linebacker Andrew Jones, who eventually committed to Memphis, there's holdups to make it a committable offer. So there's not really a standard that just tells you who's a priority and who isn't a priority. And most of the time, I think I'm clear about who is a priority and certainly be a take in this class. But certainly makes it a challenge for me because this staff is new. So sometimes I might think somebody's higher than they actually are or lower. And then it really just depends on, what I'm hearing as far as the priority list, as far as that position. So that's kind of how it shakes down as far as, the committable offers when you hear that word committable offer.
Hey, G, let me piggyback on that. G, can I actually go ahead, G? Go ahead. Continue.
I was just gonna ask if they're concerned with like burning bridges, and I know in my area sometimes like UVA and Tech aren't welcome back in some high schools based on how they've treated some of their kids, so they're worried about burning bridges in the Florida area.
Well, not really, because most of the time, like I said, the offers, when they extend the offer, in most cases, now Jalen Williams and Andrew Jones are rare situations where there's other hangups that, I don't know what the hangup is with Jalen, whether they feel good about somebody else, or, maybe that's a guy they need to see, in action more in a game situation. That's not the case with Andrew Jones. It's mainly grade related. If he gets his test score and all that stuff, I think FSU is probably going to land him. But I think they're pretty clear. That's the thing with Norvell. He's very clear of the stance of guys that they want and guys they don't. And most kids know, if you're not hearing from a school as consistent as you were, that tells you right there you probably don't have a committable offer at this point. So I don't think they're burning bridges. I think they're making it clear kind of where they stand with the prospect and how much they want them and what they're taking at the position and where they stand is kind of on their board. So FSU is usually pretty clear about where their board is with a lot of these recruits. So that's another thing I like about Norvell is everything's very pretty direct as far as where each guy stands. And that's a lot of what prospects want. They want transparency. They want guys that's going to tell them exactly where they're at. They don't care how many you're taking that position. They just want to know, am I a guy that's, a priority on your list?
Okay.
There you have it, G. Straight from the man himself.
All right. Did you have a question for me, Aslan?
Well, I was going to kind of follow up with Michael on that, just like the whole committable, non-committable thing that you kind of asked him about. I mean, it's like almost telling a girl that's like, yeah, I like you. It's like, oh, so are we boyfriend, girlfriend? It's like, I like you. Well, I just wonder how they're able to extend offers, but kind of do it in a way where I guess maybe it's like you talk about Andrew Jones, like, hey, you get those grades up and you're on board. I guess maybe that's kind of like the sort of line they delineate. Otherwise, it'd probably be really tough to tell these kids, yeah, we're offering you, but don't say yes because we can't bring you on campus yet. So I'm sure it's a little bit of a weird kind of game they have to play and not hurt feelings as well. I guess sort of the G's second point of the question, Michael.
Yeah, and two is like you have guys like Kevin Knowles, who's a cornerback. He's one of the top DBs in South Florida. Now, I didn't know he was as high on their radar, but like I said, you don't know specifically how high each one of them. So there's going to be occasionally a surprise, but the kids themselves and the recruits themselves. Well, I'm not talking about Florida State. I'm just talking about in general, overall. Recruits know who's at take with them and who isn't. I mean, it's usually not. You usually don't have a situation what happened with Jalen Williams, but that's not uncommon with JUCO kids either because sometimes things fluctuate as far as interest. There might be a holdup. I don't think it's grade related with Jalen Williams, but I think it could be performance related. And so those things change, especially when you're recruiting as many guys as FSU is and how many positions and your nets widen. Things change as far as who you like the best and who you like more. We've kind of saw that with defensive lineman Landon Watson out of the kid from Virginia that I think is originally from Texas. They watched his film more, and now he's certainly higher on the radar, and I think he would be a take and he have a committable offer. But most cases for FSU, I would say kids that get an offer, excluding guys like what I mentioned, the examples, they have committable offers. But then the other situations you have where you have a certain amount of guys that you're taking and the coaches have in mind who they definitely would take a commitment from first. A lot of times it's like even the guys that are secondary, they're not saying that they're not a takeable guy, but they want to take the higher rated guys. And the kids know because the coaches that hit you up like every single day, that gives you an indication like, hey, I got a committable offer.
All right, man. Thanks for the question, G. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate everything y'all do at War Chant, and you all have a great evening, and go Noles.
Thank you, man. You as well.
Really good question.
Yeah, man. Really? Hey, let's get right to it, Michael. We didn't really have a chance to warm up before the phone started ringing. If somebody calls right now, I'm just going to have to apologize. Probably we'll have to make you wait for a minute or so. But I think two people have already come off the top rope and wanted to know the news du jour. Soybeans was first, but let's go to my boy Leroy Frager, known as Get Down Black around some circles. One question: do we have any chance at those two top offensive linemen, the 5-star and the 4-star Mims and Ferguson. Obviously, Mims with some news today that was good for Florida State, right, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to tell you they have a good shot with either one of those guys, but they probably won't. I think Alabama's probably going to land Ferguson, and then I think Mims is probably going to Georgia. He's been there like a billion times. Now, with both of these kids, do I think they're definitely going to take visits and things could shift once they see FSU play and see other teams play? Yes, I do. I think these kids are all going to take visits, but I think with Mims, I think he goes to Georgia, and then with Ferguson, Alabama's really made a surge there, and now I think he's probably going to go to Alabama. But both of those kids is going to be a situation where I didn't expect either one of them to commit to FSU. You're not going to commit to a school that you haven't seen what their offensive line can do yet. As far as when you're talking about Rouse 100 and high 4-star guys, they're going to want to see the product on the field before they jump on board. I know that's not probably what fans want to hear, but that's just, I'm going to lay it direct. I mean, that's kind of what the situation they're in. Their offensive line recruiting and offensive line situation has been pretty bad, for a while. So the only way to fix that is kids need to see it on the field as far as a product, and that's one position. Now, there's other positions you can get away with that, like defensive back. I mean, you produce Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, Deion Sanders, Terrell Buckley, all these guys that star players. I mean, it's DBU for some people, so that's an easy sell as far as FSU goes. But a position like offensive lineman where people don't know and you've been just really bad for a while, as far as at least 5 years. It's been bad where it's just you haven't been able to recruit at a high level, evaluations, whatever reason. So and I think Atkins is a phenomenal offensive line guy. I think he will turn their offensive line around, but kids need to see the product before they jump on board. Now, you'll have some guys that are sold on what they see with the coaches, and they don't need to see that. But usually high-rated guys like that, they're going to want to see the product. But both of those guys are going to take visits. Both of those guys are going to go check out FSU multiple times. I've confirmed with people that are close to them that they're definitely going to give FSU a look, even when they decide. But that's kind of where they stand right now with those two.
There you go. Well, way to break it down, man. That's what I appreciate, man. You're always honest, Michael. You're always honest. You talk about transparency, and then you also let folks know that, hey, sometimes it just doesn't always work out for the good guys. But still, though, it's good at least, I don't know, maybe just a little bit buzz-wise, just to see a kid like Ramirez Mims, rather, say that Florida State's in his top 5 or 6 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and that's a big deal because, I mean, it is a big deal. I know it doesn't, second place is second loser, or first loser, whatever they say. But when you mention somebody in the top 6 and you haven't even watched them play yet, I think that speaks to the relationships that I talk about often that this staff is really good at. The fact that they're in the top 6, that really tells you, with Ramirez Mims, I mean, the number 1 offensive tackle in the country, that tells you the relationship impact that they've had on kids. And I've said this many times, they get the product fixed on the field. This staff is not going to have any trouble bringing in 5 stars and high 4 stars. It's just the product. They need to see the product, and that's why it's very important to get in this season in some capacity where it's conference only. It doesn't matter as long as kids can see this team play. And because the relationships, we've already seen that explode as far as with FSU in a positive way. Now they just need to show the product. And when you show the product, things are going to change to what they're going through at the offensive line as far as this year. This year's going to be grind, get guys in that set pieces that fit what you want to do, what offense, what your offense is going to do. There's going to be set piece type of guys that you have in this class where 2022, you're going to start seeing some 4 stars in there.
Right on. Book just called you the Godfather. How about that? That's pretty cool, right?
I thought that was Mike Farrell, but okay.
Whatever.
I'll roll with that.
All right. Well, look at that. Ms. Gordon's in the house. Look at that. Dropping $5 like it's nothing.
There you go. Hey, I remember your son, Sandra, James Williams.
Grandson.
Yeah, grandson, yeah. James Williams. I actually studied his film. I like him. I like his game. I think he's going to – I'm not saying he's FSU quality, but I think he's he's certainly going to go somewhere, in my opinion, D1. So keep up the good work, Sandra. We appreciate the dough.
Definitely. All right. Phone lines open 850-792-5730. We have a couple questions about the running backs. I know you were working on something when it comes to that position, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Champ G wants to know, do you feel you have a better chance with Jalen White or Contravian Hargrove?
We are going to. I'm not going to give away too much because we have a nugget of the day coming up, and I'm gonna go into very big detail about each of the running backs that I think FSU is heavily involved with. That's going to pop up soon, I would imagine this week, maybe even tomorrow. I do think they have a good shot with both of those guys, and I addressed Contravian on the message boards today. I think FSU offense, he likes the fit there. I think there's several other schools in there. I think South Carolina, Penn State. Those are both schools that he likes too as well. But I think with Hargrove, I think with both of these guys, FSU's probably in their top 2 or top 3 without giving too much away. But I'll cover in detail all these guys coming up in our nugget of the day. So I briefly at least answer your question, Champ.
Yeah, and there's for the folks who don't know, there's a look at Contravian Hargrove, a running back out of Ruston, Louisiana. Did he recently decommitted, right? Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruston, that's a hometown team. Contravian, come on, man. Spread your wings. Spread your wings.
It's like somebody put in a forecast for the Seminoles, too.
Yeah, there you go.
Not me, but I can't scroll down and see it, but sounds like it looks like what I'm looking at there that somebody put one in for them. So usually I have to go to the bottom to see who made the pick, but still good news.
I'll go all the way down. I've never gone this far down to the bottom. I even listed all the way down here. Look at this.
All right, Zach Berry put one in today.
Why is that all the way at the bottom? They need to move that all the way up. Figure it out, rivals.
I got you. I think there's a good shot there. You go back from David Johnson, connections with Louisiana, the fit in this offense. I think he's a guy that's going to be, seriously considered as far as a possibility in this class. And I think he decommitted just, look, you got South Carolina, Penn State, and Florida State. Nothing against Louisiana Tech, but those are much better options as far as playing. And certainly I think FSU is a major factor there.
Look at 7 Toms dropping $5 too. Look at that, man. Appreciate y'all.
$4.99 without the penny.
There you go, man. Well,
that's okay.
So these donations go straight to our YouTube channel, which goes straight to, I think, Gene, and then he distributes it to all of us as part of our salaries. So, yeah, you're helping keeping us employed. I mean, for real. So, we appreciate that.
By the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I have a new webcam. Yeah. So it's looking pretty. I have to say, it's looking pretty sharp, and thank the boss for that. We appreciate. I mean, me and Aslan make sure we really appreciate you guys when you donate and throw donations in there. So we certainly appreciate that.
The Bash Brothers shirt is from a friend of mine who actually has a company called Bash Brothers Media. I'll see if I can get you one though, maybe. Welcome on into the warchant.com recruiting chat with Michael Langston. Who's this?
Hey, this is Spence out of Tallahassee. How are y'all doing?
Doing well, Spence.
Hometown boy.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Got a ready. Oh.
Yep.
All right. So y'all got a wave of offensive line questions coming for y'all if you get to the PRB today. But
I'm sure.
So we're still looking to get that third tight end for the class. How are we looking with River Helms? What's the update on him?
Yeah, I think he's the best possibility right now. I think Mitchell Evans probably goes to Notre Dame. I've mentioned that several times on the board. I really felt like FSU had a good shot until I saw a Notre Dame offer, and then I knew that was an offer that Mitchell had told me that he kind of coveted. So River Helms got connections to Dillingham. He's got connections to Woodson. He's good friends with Jackson West, who's working on him hard. He's a guy that you can use in multiple ways as far as this off. Obviously, he's a fantastic receiver, probably more farly developed than even Jackson. He's a guy you can even use a big receiver if you want to. He's he gets such good separation. I think FSU is high on his list. He's done a virtual visit Georgia's also offered. There's several other schools that have offered. I don't know. I haven't heard an indication of a leader or anything like that. I mean, I know he is a guy that FSU is really high on, and they are pushing extremely hard for. Obviously, if they could have got him on campus like they did Jackson, I think that would have really increased their chances. But I think they're definitely strongly in the mix as far as probably in this top 2 or 3, I would say. And he certainly loves the offense. He is super duper athletic, as people can see in a lot of these clips. I mean, he can do a lot of special things. But haven't got River on the phone and talked to him in person as far as an interview. I'm working on that, but I know that FSU is working really hard behind the scenes. And if there was a tight end that they could add as far as the third guy, I would probably pick either River Helms or Jalen Sheed. Jalen Sheed probably depends on if Alabama is a take for him. I think Alabama has other guys that are higher on their radar right now. I think they're getting ready to get one commitment, and then they want to take – I think they want to take 2 tight ends. So if Alabama isn't a take for him, I think Jalen Sheed is definitely a name to get really familiar with. So probably Jalen Sheed or River Helms, but I would go with River just because there's so many connections to the Florida State staff with him.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much for the work that you and Aslan do and the rest of the War Chant staff. I know I can speak for the Knoll Nation. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, and go Knowles.
You got it. Thank you, bud.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate that, man. Fantastic. And how about this? Look at Tron. Tron coming off the top rope. Come on.
$10.
Tron.
Woo!
American.
Gene's probably in his office clapping and celebrating when he saw that one.
Fantastic. Tron, what's on your mind, man? You just want a shout out, man? You got a question? $10 question. You might be able to co-host this show, man. Shoot. $10, man. Ed Lamox is asking, how do you donate? It's a YouTube thing, Ed. I don't know. I think you have to put your credit card to your YouTube account. I don't know, but get on over to YouTube. We appreciate that. Bart Dog, who I think is a OG War Chant guy. Sorry to ask, but how do we have a Knoll fan with the handle Gator Kirk? Is there a story here? Gator, if you want to reply, you can. See, I call him G. Mike calls him Kirk. His last name's Kirk. Apparently something happened. He was a kid next to the lake or the river, and I guess he was bopping around with the gator maybe. He'll be able to answer, I'm sure. He'll chime in here, and I'll pop the question up.
But he loves the Knolls. I mean, make no mistake about it. Whatever his nickname and whatever reason behind it, Kirk loves Florida State. I mean, he's the first caller every single week. I mean, he loves his Knolls. He asks some detailed questions, and there's no way you know the questions he's asking if you're not a Seminole.
Yeah, he's legit. He's on War Chant. Gator 188 is his title, so he's helping pay our salary. So he's fine by. All right, so Tron dropped 10. So Tron gets his question. Tron says, "How's this new coach looking?" That's one of the things I'm really worried about. That you want to talk about maybe from a recruiting perspective, at least, Michael. I mean, what's kind of been your takeaway, I guess, from Mike Norvell thus far?
Yeah, I would assume he's talking about recruiting. Because everything else has been really good. Culture, work ethic, preparedness, have your players back, saying all the right things, doing all the right things, having these kids. Strength and conditioning has been phenomenal. So all those things have been good. I know people are concerned about recruiting, but here's the thing I tell people, and it's the same thing I've said before. Recruiting your first year is the first full year. You're looking for the right pieces in the right places. You're not going to land a lot of 4- and 5-star guys. Now, you're going to land some. But, Tron, I would wait and base my opinion as far as I wouldn't be worried about it, because what I like is the evaluations they're doing, even on these kids that are maybe low 4 stars or high 3 stars. They're good evaluations of kids you want. I mean, these guys are just a pure example. Luke Altamire, I think when the FSU offered him, he was like a 3-star. He got bumped up to a 4-star. He didn't really have that many offers. And then Alabama comes in and offers. Same thing with Jalen Sheed. Alabama comes in and offers after FSU. River Helms, Georgia comes in and offers after FSU. Andrew Jones, several of these schools come in there, try to offer him. Even Georgia offered linebacker Andrew Jones. So I think their evaluation skills are showing, if you just take off the blinders of the ranking and you look at the talent as far as the skill set, they're really good at evaluating scouting talent. And I said this before. If recruits do not know what FSU is as far as on the field, they just don't. That's just the straight honest truth. Kids, unless they have a connection with Norvell or a connection with Dillingham and the way they call things or the way they utilize their players, they're not going to know. They need to see FSU and what it's going to look like. Once you get that, and people have already seen that, we did a 2022 mini hot board, and I kind of people saw it like it was a drastic change as far as how many 4 and 5 stars that were on there, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get, it's going to go higher, but like example I give several times is Tennessee and North Carolina. Tennessee's had like 4 or 5 years with Pruitt. Now their recruiting's really clicking. North Carolina, their recruiting's starting to click after 1 year. But the difference is, the thing is, these kids have seen those teams play. They haven't seen anything with FSU. When that happens, they're going to explode. It's going to take off, and kids are going to want to be there. You're going to have geographical advantages that other teams don't have with these kids in the state of Florida and in the state of Georgia and North Georgia and around there. So I would just say, look for the pieces that fit your team first this year. Next year is going to be the glamour. That's where you expect to get some glamour guys, some Rivals 100, Rivals 250. You're going to get more. It's probably not going to be as many as people want, but I don't think Tran is a big concern going into that first year, because the first year is a learning curve. It's a bridge class every time when you're dealing with that first year. Kids have to see something before they jump in the water.
Dude, this is getting out of control now, but like in a good way. I think Mama Gordon has come back with $5 more, and then Evan McCool is going to give you $9.99. Thank you, man. That's awesome, man. Really, this is super.
You're welcome, Gene.
Yeah,
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Look at this, and then soybeans. Boom, $14.99. Let's go. Let's go, man. I'm gonna have to this will be like the soybeans quarter hour of the show. Let's go. Everybody wants to know about recruiting. Let's get it.
Y'all throw some questions too. If you have some questions, throw them in, man. We'll get them out.
Welcome on into the Michael Langston call-in show, I guess we can call it. It's warchant.com. What's up? Who's this?
Hey, it's Kat.
Hey, Kat. Yeah. Kat, the better half of Kat and Kirk, everybody. What's going on, Kat? Do you have the story? Do you have the truth, the skinny on Gator's nickname?
I don't know. I thought he told you the story before.
He did. I'm terrible with memory. You know my memory.
Yep. Anyway, so how's everybody doing tonight?
We're doing well. Did G not get a question and you got a follow-up for us?
No, he's just been giving me a lot of grief because I've been busy the last few call-ins and haven't called in.
All right. Well, yeah. Let's get our priorities in line.
So what's going on, Kat? What's on your mind?
So I was just kind of wondering, with all of the uncertainty with the high school and college seasons, if you think that caused a sense of urgency with any of these recruits and having them commit earlier than they would otherwise, or if it's still kind of business as usual.
It's definitely not business as usual, Kat. I mean, it's definitely sped up everything. Even FSU's seen the positives and negatives of the speeding up stuff. Kids are getting place setters to. Not saying they won't end up at these schools, but there's some kids that are on there that are committed, not FSU commits, but committed to elsewhere, that they want to get a spot, before, because they don't know per se, as you hinted, that there's going to be a season. Do I think there will be? Yeah, in some capacity I do, but there is some paranoia as far as recruits of, well, I better get my spot just to make sure that I have one there. So you're definitely an increased worrisome as far as the season, and even their high school season. Jackson West, FSU committed, kind of told me that the other night, that I think they moved to a 6-game season, and so there's kids that are concerned if they're going to play a season. So I think there's no doubt that this pandemic has sped up a lot of recruitment. Like I said, there's almost like triple the number of commits compared to last year than what they had now, which usually equals there's going to be a lot of decommits, assuming we have a season. If we have a season, I think it's going to be a big decommit season where you see a lot of kids that are committed somewhere and then bam, they jump on board somewhere else. So I definitely think it'll be a big decommitment season as long as we have a season. But no, I'm not surprised that kids are speeding up the process to jump on board with schools.
Okay.
Hope that helps you, Kat.
It does. I was just kind of wondering about that because we've been seeing, we had one of our local kids, decide he just wasn't even going to do his high school senior year and committed to North Carolina. So.
Grimes, that cornerback, that's crazy. Yeah,
it's gonna enroll early and enroll there in 2020, and that's just what this pandemic does, is it speeds up things because there's so much unknown, Kat, about what's going to happen with this season. Obviously, we're hearing a lot about the ACC only schedule, probably possibility of playing Florida at the end of the year as well. So that gets that just adds more to the fear of kids not knowing until somebody comes out and says, "Hey, we're playing the season." I think then you'll see it slow down a little bit because then kids know they'll be able to take visits. I think you'll start seeing that commitment train slow down, and then decommit train start picking up once that happens. But until we get that, you're going to continue to see this trend and a heavy pattern of kids committing.
There you go, Kat. Thanks for the call.
All right. Well, thanks for all you do, and thanks for keeping Gator occupied with all of the sports being sidelined there. So
we try to keep him in line. Make sure he stays out of trouble.
Will do. Have a good night.
Michael, you thought maybe we were done. We're not done, man. We're not done. No. $10 American, man. Just making it rain. Vishal Patel, thanks, man. He just wants to say thank you, War Chant. Look at that. Amazing. I think we can retire now, maybe. Irons, be done with it. Shout out to Ed. Look at Ed. Ed got up on Facebook and went onto YouTube and threw money at us. Look at that. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. We'll put G's answer up here in a second, but we have a question. Soybeans wants a question. He paid $15. He can get a question in here. Anything pretty much new, at least maybe on the baseball side, in Taiwan Malone?
I do know that FSU has talked about him with baseball. I don't know if that means that Meade has talked to him, but I think there's been consistent conversations about baseball with FSU. Obviously, FSU is one of the most traditionally rich baseball programs in the country. I think Southern Cal is on his list. Ole Miss as another good baseball program. There's other teams in there, maybe South Carolina as well, but definitely that's going to be a big pitch part for FSU, not just the football side of things, which I think they've done a great job as far as relationships, but I do know that baseball wise, they've talked frequently with Malone about that.
All right. Let's go back to the phone lines. Take a phone call here. Welcome on into the warchant.com, recruiting chat with Michael Langston. Who we got on the line?
Chad from New Mexico.
Chad from New Mexico. How's your foot holding up, man? I know it's only one more day, but how you doing, bud?
Yeah, it's all right. How are you both doing?
Good, man. Just living.
Fantastic, man. We're doing great.
Breathing. What's on your mind, Chad?
I have two questions. One will be I don't know how to say his first name. DeQuavion Fuller.
Okay. DeQuavion Fuller. That's Quayshawn Fuller's younger brother.
So what position?
Yeah, he is a linebacker, probably, if I had to guess. He is – I am not expecting him to be in this class. I've made that clear to several people in War Chant that I don't envision him being in this class. I just don't get the impression that this new staff is really pushing for him that much. No, it's not going to affect Quayshawn that much. Quayshawn's going to be a guy that's going to compete and have a chance to play early, I think, even this year. But I do not expect DeQuavion to be in the class, even though he's committed. I don't know how much interest there is. My guess is there's not a lot because unlike Chad Masco, who immediately decommitted when he knew he had schools and interest, it's easier to decommit when you already have options right now. I don't know how many options there are right now. I just think anything can happen, but I would think it's unlikely that he ends up in this class.
Okay, and what about Jadon Hood, who's committed to Michigan? You think they could get back in with him?
I do think they can get back in with Jaden Hood. I think he was very interested early in the spring. Michigan did a really good job jumping on him so early, got him on campus, I believe, at least once. And he was going to, and this is one of those pandemic things that really hurt FSU because he was actually going to visit FSU in two separate occasions. One was just a transportation problem. The other thing, he was getting ready. He was going to be there for the spring game for FSU. And then the pandemic hit, didn't happen. And so this is another one of those pandemic things where it speeds up the process where he knew he was comfortable with Michigan. He jumped on board, but certainly FSU is going to be a school that would likely push for him. And if we do have a season, certainly he's a guy that I could see, visiting FSU. Now it won't be easy because Michigan did such a good job early on, but he's definitely a guy that I think it's not completely over with, but they'll have some work to do as far as making an impression, building that trust, and showing the fit he has in this kind of defense. Another hard thing for Jaden would be you're talking about they're only taking 3 linebackers in this class. Well, they have Jordan Eubanks, they have Brandon Jennings, who everyone knows, who I think should be a 5-star, by the way, and then that leaves one spot. Well, Andrew Jones, we know if he gets the grades, that's a possibility you get in there. So with Jaden, it's going to really depend on, obviously, too, what happens with the grade situation with Andrew Jones. If that gets cleared up, then there might not be a spot available because they're only going to take 3. But he's definitely a guy that I think they will talk to and get active with. And that's part of the reason why FSU knew these commitments would be sped up. So that's kind of part of the reason FSU didn't go all crazy and all out for him when they knew they really couldn't do anything until he gets on campus. So I think they knew what would come later, that, hey, possibly we can get this kid on campus, get him on campus later, and then we can make our move. So that's kind of, I think, what FSU's plan is with Jaden.
Okay, thank you, and thanks for everything you do.
Thanks, Chad. Get the call, man.
All right, bye.
Man, New Mexico. We're everywhere, man.
Hope his foot's okay.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. I think he told us, but me and my memory and myself. Look at this, man. We're not done. People are crazy. I love you all. I love you all. Give the music. Give the man some music, Aslan. Oh, man. What about that, Michael? Daryl Cole.
Awesome. That's awesome, Daryl. Appreciate it.
Do we know, has Odell returned to his homeland? Has he been back in Polk County? Hold the thought, I guess. We'll take the phone call since it's more urgent and pressing. Welcome into the Michael Langston call-in show, warchant.com. Who's this?
This is Travis Siegel.
Travis Siegel. You give us your full name.
Yes,
Look at that.
From Charlotte.
Okay.
I had posted a question. I'm just wondering, how can we not get Deion Sanders but Willie Taggart to pick him up? How is that possible?
Go for it.
Well, here's the thing. They loved Luke Altmaier from the beginning. They feel Luke Altmaier is their future guy, Travis. I mean, that's their future guy. Yes, Shadur Sanders is a good prospect, but I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but I would much rather have Luke Altmaier as far as the way he can run this system. It's a better fit. Whereas I think Shadur is better fit for the Willie Taggart type of spread type offense as far as what he's going to run. I think, and the other thing is with Shadur, he wants to play right now. He wants to play right away. I'm talking about like when he gets to FAU, he's expecting to start or expecting to play very early. That's not a given if you're talking about if Norvell went after him, which they never really pushed for him. I think they knew their guy. They knew Altmaier was the one they wanted. They felt really good about what he brings. But I think FAU is the only school you look at it where he's got a legitimate shot to go right in there, bam, first year, and play right away. I know everyone loves Deion, and I know that's an easy sell that people want, Deion's son, but at the end of the day, you have to get the right guys that fit what you're going to do in your system. We saw that with Jeff Sims last year, where they passed on him, moved on, got Tate Rodemaker, got Chuba Purdy. So you have to get the guys that fit what you're going to do.
Okay, and I was kind of thinking that yesterday when I seen the post where he committed. That's what I was thinking, he would start right away.
Yeah, and Shedeur said he wanted to play for a black head coach. That was a big thing to him. Now maybe that's because of all the racial stuff that went on that he really wanted to play there. So that was a big deal. So it wouldn't have mattered what FSU did. And I think it's a good fit for Shedeur. I mean, he can come in there, he can get on the field really early, and a tremendous, incredible pickup for FAU to get somebody with his kind of talent that can come in there. Now there's technique-wise stuff that he needs to clean up that they'll have to fix, but I think overall FSU got the best fit, and I think Shedeur got the best fit.
Right. Well, I'm done with all that Black Lives Matter. I got my own opinion about that, but this is a football show. But anyway, it's like I'm a black man, but we're killing each other. But Black Lives Matter. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. So I'm just going to leave that alone. I know it's a football show. So
yeah.
Thank you for my question.
All right, thanks, Travis. Have a good one, man.
No problem, Travis.
All right, let's get back to the question about recruiting territories and such. Courtesy of Daryl Cole. Has he changed? Do we know any of the areas? I mean,
the areas are pretty clear. I mean, Odell's back in Polk County, definitely, because he's a legend there. He should have never been taken out of there in the previous staff, which was crazy.
Do we know why they did that, Michael? Like, is there a good reason for why you would take Odell? I mean, was there maybe a player that didn't like Odell in Lakeland? And they're like, oh, we're going to change this all for one player that we didn't end up ever getting?
I mean, I think maybe they were doing it to kind of spice things up and feel like somebody else can get somebody else in there, that's better recruiting the area. But I just think that's sabotage, to be honest, taking Odell out of the area. That he's a legend. I mean, everyone knows Odell in Lakeland. That's like, but the areas are pretty clear. I mean, I've mentioned it several times. Norvell obviously is going to be everywhere. He's got ties in Texas, Midwest, Tennessee, anywhere in the Southeast. Norvell's got connections. Dillingham's very good in the South, especially Alabama and Georgia. He's phenomenal. Running back coach David Johnson, we've put it out several times that he's an ace recruiter in Louisiana. He's also very good in the Memphis and the Tennessee and all the South areas. He's pretty good. He's recruited Central Florida before, so he's definitely in there. Ron Dugan's very good in the Florida area, especially Palm Beach area. He's very good in recruiting South Florida. So and local guys, he's very good at that too. And then tight end coach Chris Thompson, Texas is where he's really excellent. Does a great job there. Offensive line coach Alex Atkins, very good in the South, very popular coach in the South, and also he's very good in the state of Georgia, especially Atlanta. So he's excellent there. Defensive ends coach John Papulis is very good in the DMV area. That'll give them another guy to go along with Odell that can recruit that area very well. He knows North Carolina as far as well as well. So he's very. I mean, remember he coached at North Carolina and he also coached at Maryland. So he's going to have ties to those specific areas around those schools. So he definitely has that. Adam Fuller is very good in South Florida, especially Southwest Florida. Very popular coach in the state of Florida among recruits. He's recruited that all his life. So, the areas are pretty clear. Marcus Woodson, Alabama, Georgia, South, anywhere in the South, he's very good. But the areas are pretty clear. I mean, I just explained all of them pretty much. I laid it all out as far as the players. Chris Marv, linebacker, very good in the South, especially Mississippi, Alabama, even in the state of Georgia. He's also very good in the state of Georgia. So that's kind of a layout of kind of the recruiting areas for this FSU staff.
There you go. Thanks for the question and the money, Daryl. Appreciate you, man. Hey, let's look to the future. Camilo Perez asks, is Norvell going after the #1 quarterback, Quinn Ewers, 2022, since he recruits so strong in Texas? How come nobody calls until I ask Michael a question? Let's work on it. We're always running like illegal procedure penalties. Welcome into the Michael Langston Collins Show on WordChant.com, WordChant TV. Who's this?
This is CJ.
CJ, where are you from, CJ? Where are you calling in from?
From Dedham.
Dedham, I don't know. Where's Dedham?
Dedham is it's in Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, I got you. All right, I got you. All right. What's going on, man?
Oh no, that's what it is. Ask ML a couple questions about recruiting these dual sports athletes.
Okay, fire away, my man.
So the way I'm looking at it is that we haven't done a good job as a university lately of recruiting these two sport athletes. Because I remember Jameis wanted to play two sports. He played baseball and football, and Marvin Bracey track and football. But like recently, we lost out on Malachi Wideman to Tennessee, and he went to play basketball. We have a basketball program. And more recently, Keon Coleman, we're in the hunt for four-star. He ended up committing to Kansas because I guess he wants to go play basketball at Kansas, even though we have a way better football team and our basketball program's going to come up. And I was thinking about Tywone Malone that also wants to play baseball and football, but it seems like we're not doing a good job of like selling both sports to these athletes. Am I like misreading that, or what's going on here?
I don't agree that they're not doing a good job. I mean, I think they're doing a very good job. I think it's just some kids are looking for something more as far as the fit, as far as these programs. Like Tom Malone, they've sold baseball really hard. Terrion Arnold, they're selling basketball really hard with him. That's another one's a DB local kid. They're selling that hard. Keon Coleman, they did a great job with him, but the pandemic killed them because they were actually going to have him on campus. They could have shown him around at different things with the basketball environment. Obviously, FSU's a top 5 national program. They sold that hard, but sometimes it's just, the other schools that are popular, like Kansas, are going to attract kids more. And, it's not that they're not selling it. It's just right now, like it goes back to what I've said before, kids need to see what your product is going to be. And it's hard. I mean, basketball wise, they see what the product is, but football, these kids just don't know yet. That's why this season is pivotal for them to show that. But I mean, I would say with the Terrion Arnold kid, FSU's been on him longer in basketball than probably any school, like any school. I mean, they've been on him for a long time. He's a point guard, really good defender, a guy that I know CY has spent a lot of time talking to him. I mean, they've been active as far as that goes. So I don't think they're not selling it. I just think it comes down to kids buying into being sold on both sports. And you can't really do that right now until we see the product on the field. Now, once the product's on the field and we see what FSU is, and you're still not getting 2 sport guys, then I would probably side with you or maybe agree with you or check in further to it. But I think right now it's impossible for FSU to sell both sports until kids know what the football program is going to be.
Also, let's not it's almost impossible. I know you talk about Terrion Arnold in basketball, but I'd reserve judgment on guys like, Malachi Wideman until we actually see them play both sports. It's extremely difficult to play basketball.
Yeah, and they did a phenomenal job selling Malachi on basketball. That was the reason Malachi picked FSU, was the balance that FSU had with football and basketball. I think what turned that one upside down was when you had the coaching change and there was too much uncertainty of knowing what the heck is going on with Florida State and what it's going to look like. He knew what Tennessee is going to look like. He knew from basketball and football. He knew. It just goes back to what I'm saying, that kids have to know what both sports are going to be. That's what it comes down to.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else, DJ?
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for everything this year.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
There we go, man. Massachusetts, New Mexico. Man, who else is going to call in? How about this, man? Let me get back on my 1s and 2s, Michael. Play the man some music. $10 American from Michael Jennings. Oh, we should probably give some of that money to 7 Toms, I think, who walked him through it, or maybe it was soybeans. Walked him through the process of how to donate money. Recruited kids from northwestern states or foreign countries. Tom's helped us out here. Gave us another assist. Mastromano, right? We got the Australian punter, so that's one. I can't think of like the Pacific Northwest. I cannot think of anybody from Pacific.
Well, they offered a kid from Germany. You got to remember, Beyond Warner was from there too. So they offered a kid that's a tight end, 2022 class. I forget. He's in my offers from last week.
Sean Harrison. He was from Seattle or whatever. So
yeah.
Northwest.
So, I mean, I'm just mainly focused on foreign countries, but they have recruited kids. I mean, remember the kid from Australia that was the humongous offensive lineman that I think ended up in like Minnesota. I forget his name. They recruited him, so they definitely have done it. It's. I mean, there's definitely obviously Alex, the punter, is the most recent as far as addition of foreign guys. Even Janikowski. I mean, he's Polish. He's not from. He played in Daytona, but he's from Poland. So,
well, I mean, I guess part of it's like the allure of them actually going into a foreign country.
I got you.
And get away.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the kid from Minnesota. Daniel Fiali.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. Right
6'9", 400 pounds. Good grief, man.
Yeah, massive.
What a human being. Yeah. Yeah, Bjorn. I mean, somebody dropped Jared Jones and bringing it all the way back to those times. I mean, I was trying to think of like recent memory here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, did Clemson get like a difference maker from Germany, or like did somebody from Libya help Alabama win the national title? I don't know. I don't know if he's trying to stump us or anything, but
no, I just think he's.
I don't want to jump too much ahead of the nugget you got coming up with running backs, but like obviously it's not a foreign country, but like they're going to places that I want to say I'm the die-hardest recruiting guy when it comes to filling know what's going on with Florida State. I mean, I was much more when I was kind of following from the outside. Like they're going out to San Diego, and it was like they're going to Southern California, and we're not talking about like LA and guys like who's the kid Adoree Jackson that everybody's going after. Like they're turning over stones all over the country, man. So that's pretty encouraging.
Yeah, very, very, very encouraging. We mentioned the recruiting areas. I mean, that's the other thing I didn't even mention. I mean, they're very good in the West Coast. Norvell's obviously coached at Arizona State. Dillingham's coached there as well. Dillingham's very good in the state of Arizona. Showed that last year in landing Chubba Purdy. So that's what I love about the staff is there's so many different areas that they haven't really tapped into before, and now we're starting to see a lot more of that. And so. Foreign countries, they already showed that when landing the punter. I mean, went out there and just was like, we need this guy, and jumped on board. And so I think you're going to see more of it, but usually when you go foreign country guys, it's usually there's not a lot. There's usually that one or two.
Yeah, and I mean, we should probably give some of the credit to Willie. I mean, Willie did, I think, start the ball rolling on that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's just like you have to have that relationship with the coach over there, and that's really what it comes down to. But we don't discriminate. If you can play ball, come to Tallahassee. Let's get back to the question from Camilo in terms of the number one quarterback for 2022. Do we know if Norvell is going after this Lone Star State product?
Yeah, he's considered one of the top quarterbacks in the whole country. I think I want to say Ohio State and Oregon are the two teams that I hear the most with him. I haven't heard anything with FSU per se with him. Oklahoma, excuse me. That I knew it was one of the teams with O, but Oklahoma seems to be the team that stands out early with Quinn. I know Oregon and Ohio State are also schools that are interested, but I haven't heard anything with FSU with him. I think FSU's been so focused on Nico Marcial that they feel really good about where they stand. I've already forecasted him. The FSU is a 4-star prospect. I think he fits everything to what they want, and relationships is a big deal with this staff, and certainly they have a long-standing relationship with Nico, and is a guy they want. As far as Quinn, it doesn't take away from what Quinn is. I mean, Quinn's considered one of the best quarterbacks in the country. There's no question about that, but I have not heard anything as far as FSU goes as far as interest there yet.
Oh, pretty nice show right there. South Lake Carroll. Is that where Stafford went?
I don't know. I don't remember him playing there, but I could be wrong. I do remember when I covered
that. So everybody,
I remember when I covered Florida varsity, and I worked at Florida varsity high school site in Rivals, and that was my first time seeing what's this high school's name you just mentioned?
South Lake Carroll. Matt Stafford went to Highland Park.
Okay. South Lake Carroll played Miami Northwestern. It was a big national matchup. That was when Miami Northwestern had those 8 kids that were phenomenal. I think they went to end up. Some of them went to Miami. That was one of the best teams I've ever seen. And Northwestern you beat their brains in. That's the one time. But man, that's when I knew how serious Texas was. It was like 30,000 fans there, and that's big time. So South Clay Carroll is one of the biggest names out there. Katie's another one. So it's a lot of fun.
Kenny Trill. Remember Kenny Hill for A&M? Had like 3 names, and he's from South Carroll, and also Chase Daniel, who played at Missouri and has been holding the clipboard for like Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes and just living the dream. Greg McElroy as well. So not a bad high school, not a bad list of players. So who's the quarterback you're mentioning for 2022 that they're kind of putting all the eggs in the basket for?
Nico Marcial. I want to say his name is.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, is he the goods then?
Yeah, he's 2022. He's very good. He's a 4-star prospect. Going to be like a Rouse 100, Rouse 250 quarterback. Like him a lot. He has really deep ties to Norvell and Dillingham. They've known him for a long time. FSU's been on him the hardest. That's the guy they pushed the hardest for. There's another one in Georgia that they're also after, MJ. I forget his last name. Morris. MJ Morris. That's another one that they're after. So I think those 2 guys are their focus as far as the quarterback position. But Nico is I think the number 1 guy that they really want in this class. Great talent. Has some of the best film, Aslan, if you can pull it up or whenever you can pull it up. Nico has some incredible film, very impressive film. He does there's a lot of things to like about this kid, and his ball placement it's really good. I've been very impressed as far as the way he places the ball. It's just perfect every time, and you can see in stride there. And he's a guy that I've already forecasted the FSU. I think they have a really good shot of landing this kid, and certainly a guy that fits everything Norvell wants in his quarterbacks. And quick release, gets rid of the ball, can run this offense. Very good middle throws, deep throws. He pretty much can make any throw that you're looking for. So
quicker motion than Purdy. But I mean, Chuba makes those kind of throws, man. But his motion is a little cleaner, and he's got a little more velocity on it. But
and this kid can move. I mean, he's got nice wheels for a quarterback. And that's they like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like we need to do something where you bring forth like 3 recruits, and like I don't look up their star ranking. We just play their tape, and then you ask me who do I think is ranked higher, and then you tell me like who actually is.
No, that's a good idea. I like that. I like that.
Like a blind taste test almost, if you will. But all right, I see you, Mike Norvell. I see. I like it. I approve. Go forward with this kid. What's going on here? Feedback all over the place. All right, phone line still open, 850-792-5730. Give us a phone call. Michael's here for about another 5 minutes or so, about being that hour plateau mark. Let's see if there's anything else going over on YouTube. Scrolling, all the scrolling that's going on here. Let me see here. I can't even read right now. My eyes are all blurry on me. Michael, what somebody was asking about what's the hot board look like for 2022. Have you dropped it yet, or is that coming up?
I did. No, I dropped that a few weeks ago. That's
Drew Collins asking, what does the defensive tackle hot board look like?
Yeah, I got that coming up. I've already done the offense for 2021. I'm just finishing up the defensive tackle. Now, the guys you'll see in there, I've covered before. Tywan Malone is one. FSU is very active with. Lee Hunter's another one. He's committed to Auburn, but FSU is very active there. Marquise Robinson out from Milton High School over there in the Panhandle area. That's another one that they're going after. Luther McCoy over there in the Jacksonville area. That's another one. So it's Christopher Thomas. He's a guy that's from he's originally from Tallahassee. He's a guy that FSU is recruiting hard. So there's going to be a lot of guys. I will go into detail about all these guys. I think every one of these guys is certainly guys that FSU's been heavily involved with, and certainly in the top group of these schools, or for these kids, they're the top group. So I will go into detail about that, Drew, coming up. But those are kind of what it's looking like as far as the board. I think out of those guys, I would say Luther McCoy is probably the guy that I would say that FSU leads for. I think they sit in a good spot with him. The others they're just so close that, it's like FSU. I think they're in the top 2 for Tywan Malone. I think Marquise Robinson, I think top 2, top 3, top 2 for Marquise Robinson. Lee Hunter, obviously committed to Auburn, but I think FSU, Alabama are 2 teams that are very high on his list. So that's kind of what the board looks like, Drew.
How about this question from Dion 850 Florida? FSU's chances of landing Amari Harvey and Carrion.
Yeah, landing both of them is going to be tricky because I don't think there's taken too many DBs, maybe 1 or 2 at the most. I think they have a good shot with I think their best shot's with Harvey. I think that's a kid that's local. He loves FSU. FSU's been on him. He's a pure safety. Even though he can play both positions, I think there's a higher chance for Harvey because I hear more about Alabama with Terrion, even though recruits are telling me, hey, Mike, we feel like we're getting Terrion. I mean, so there's recruits that tell me that they feel like, that Arnold's coming to FSU. But I would say I wouldn't give it a high chance of landing both, but I think Harvey's a guy that I think they can add in this class. As long as they show the product on the field, I think there's a good chance FSU, can pull Amari Harvey.
All right, there we go. That wouldn't be bad. Terry Vaughn, not recruiting related per se, but reaction to the new booster hire, Noel Fan 82. The guy, he was athletic director at Central Michigan. Before that, he was at Alabama, helping them spearhead a bunch of projects, marketing, fundraising. So he's got, experience working for probably the most lucrative university when it comes to football. He went to UAB, maybe got his master's at Arkansas. So he's definitely a guy that has got the flavor for football and what it means to people in these sort of communities. So it sounds like maybe that, Andy Miller, who's currently the CEO, I think is the official title for Seminoles Booster, who's been around forever, will probably hang around for a few more years. And that will allow some on-the-job training, I guess you could say, for the new guy. And then maybe at that point, once Andy Miller decides to fade off and maybe David Coburn also steps away as well, that he would maybe transition to becoming the athletics director because of the way the relationship works at Florida State, where, Seminole Boosters pretty much, has a pretty big hand in what happens financially with Florida State's plans and sort of fundraising and the things they want to get accomplished. If you have a guy that's got that background that closely that can go into the AD spot, maybe that'll work out smoothly. So they put themselves in pretty good position to have some pretty good options. So everybody always complains about hiring from within. They could have promoted, I think, the number 2 guy. They didn't. They went outside the family. So I like it, man. It seems like a pretty big, bold move. And in the meantime, Andy Miller running boosters and David Coburn being the AD, I think is the right move. So I'm all about it. I'm all about it. We've got a phone call. Look at that. Perfect timing. It'll be the last one of the night. Let's go ahead and grab it. Welcome on in to the Michael Langston call-in show, WarChant.com. Who's this?
This is Robert from Graceville, Florida.
Graceville, what's going on, man? The Bears? Is Graceville High the Bears?
No, the Tigers.
Tigers, not even close. Not even close, man. What's going on? Let's talk about the Noles. How about that?
Yes, sir. What I was wondering, if we do play Florida this year, if we beat Clemson, Miami, and Florida, I was just wondering, how good do you think our recruitment goes up from there?
Ooh. It would definitely be a dramatic jump. I think you would get some, 4 high 4-star Rivals 100 kids that you probably wouldn't have gotten previously. So I think there'll be an upstick of certainly recruiting. I'm not going to say how many, I don't know, but there definitely would be an upstick. You're definitely going to get some 4-stars that, maybe even stretch it to a 5-star of a guys that you weren't initially thinking you were going to get. And then, but with that change, that kind of shows on the product, kind of the product on the field, what I've been discussing all chat long. Your product on the field really is going to influence recruits. I think it's going to be more impactful for 2022, but you can definitely do that. If you go out there and you beat the teams that you just suggested, there's no doubt you're going to see an upstick in recruiting.
That's awesome. I really believe, with the playmakers that we have, and if this coaching staff does like it's supposed to, that we believe it will, man, I see us beating Clemson, Miami, and Florida.
Whew. There you go. Well, I hope you're right. I mean, that would be good news for FSU, and definitely, even if you'd win, a one or two of those, I mean, that would be phenomenal. I mean, that would be an incredible, turnaround.
Oh yes, we've getting our butts kicked from them for the last 2 or 3 years now. Just say even if we didn't win, but let's say we lost by like 1 touchdown, that's showing that Florida State's coming up, right?
Yeah, it is, and it shows you compete, and that's the thing I will tell people. I'm like, these days where you're just seeing FSU get humiliated, I think those days are gone. You got a coach that I think the one thing I can say about Norvell, I don't know what they're going to look like on the field, but I can tell you his kids are going to compete, and they're going to compete hard, and they're going to be prepared and organized and ready to play. So I think they're going to be ready. It's just how far along are they? Do they have enough to get by some of these games? I wish I had the confidence you do against Clemson, but I definitely think Miami is a definite possibility that they could win that game. And then Florida's at home. I mean, you just never know. You get somebody at home, a rivalry game, they could pull that out, but we'll just have to see. But Clemson, I think, would be a stretch for me. But I think FSU fans would certainly take that. But the main thing is changing the product on the field. You want those wins, but at the same time, you need to see something significant that shows a shift. And I think a win over Miami or something like that certainly shows that.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much, man. Thank you for everything that y'all doing.
You got it, man.
For the call.
Okay.
All right, Michael. That's a wrap on the phone calls. It's a wrap on the chat. I know you got to get back to the PRB and answer everybody's question over there. Otherwise, what are you working on for the website here in the next few days?
Well, like I said, I've been working on the hot board. I'm done with the offense. I'm on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm trying to knock that out. Hopefully by next week we'll start releasing that. So I've been working on that. Probably going to try to hit up a few more prospect updates. And then the following week, I think I'm going to do another set of 2022 mini hot board type of guys and throw everything together and kind of, again, with that to kind of give people a feel for that. And maybe I'll have a prospect update on Nico Marshall so people can kind of get to know him, and we'll see what we come up with. But those are kind of some of the things that I'll be working on in the next week or so.
All right. He never stops, folks. I mean, quite literally, he's always doing something recruiting-wise. Thanks, everybody who tuned in, called in, who donated. Again, amazing. It's awesome. I'm just sitting here in my house talking about Florida State, and you threw money in my face. So I do appreciate it. If you could, hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, be on the lookout for a nugget coming from Michael from a skill position standpoint. I think that you folks will like it. Also, our own Irish O'Fell. I know a lot of folks watching this also care about the team, obviously. If you've been wondering what this coaching staff has been doing pretty much since this whole pandemic started, you're not alone. Irish O'Fell got to the bottom of it. It's going to be a multi-part series that I think you folks will really like. It'll be for our subscribers over on warchant.com. So use the promo code warchant30 if you're not already a member to get some real good information, not a tweet and a story that you click, and that's how some people get paid. Shade. All right, I'm done. He's Michael. I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching, everybody. Y'all take care.